Ethan Vale wiped the grease off his hands and squinted at the blinking lights of his old salvage ship. The hum of the spaceport filled the air, vendors calling out prices, engines whirring, and travelers rushing to catch departing freighters. Xylar 9 wasn't the most glamorous planet in the sector, but it had its charm. For Ethan, it was home. A home of metal, dust, and opportunity. He adjusted a panel under the ship's wing. "Just a few more tweaks and you'll fly like new," he muttered to himself. His shop was small, cluttered with spare parts and tools that seemed to have been scavenged from a dozen different star systems. Despite appearances, he loved this work. Fixing broken machines was simple, honest, and kept him busy. As he tightened the last bolt, a sharp chime echoed across the port. Ethan turned his head, curious. A ship unlike any he had ever seen was hovering nearby. Its hull shimmered like liquid silver, reflecting the pale light of Xylar 9's twin suns. Unlike the usual freighters or mining ships, this one had smooth, elegant curves, almost like it was alive. A voice came over the port's universal channel. "Distress signal detected. Requesting immediate assistance." Ethan raised an eyebrow. Most distress signals were false alarms, but something about this one felt different. He could see the ship struggling to stabilize, its engines sputtering, in the thin atmosphere. "Looks like someone really needs help," he muttered. Without thinking twice, he grabbed his toolkit and sprinted toward his shuttle. He navigated through crowded streets and climbed aboard his ship, starting the engine with practiced ease. The shuttle roared, and he shot forward, weaving between other vessels. The silver ship floated above a cratered zone near the planet's surface, sparks flying from its damaged engine. "Hang on," Ethan called, though he knew no one could hear him. Carefully, he positioned his shuttle under the ship and fired a tractor beam. The alien vessel shuddered, but it held. Ethan's heart raced. He had dealt with tricky rescues before, but this was on a whole new level. Minutes later, the ship stabilized. A hatch opened and Ethan climbed aboard, expecting to see a panicked pilot or a robotic AI. Instead, he found a figure that took his breath away. She was tall, graceful, with skin that glowed faintly under the cabin lights. Her eyes were a deep violet and her hair flowed like liquid night. She wore a simple traveling suit, yet her posture and aura commanded attention. Ethan froze, unsure what to say. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice melodic but firm. "I am grateful you came." No problem," Ethan stammered. He wasn't used to talking to anyone like this, let alone someone so regal. "Just saw the ship struggling, figured I could help." She gave a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes completely. "You are kind. Few humans show such courage." Ethan chuckled nervously. "Well, it's kind of my job. Fixing things." The ship's interior was unlike anything Ethan had seen. Smooth panels with softly glowing symbols lined the walls. Strange machines hummed quietly, and a holographic display flickered above the central console. He walked closer, inspecting the systems. "Your engines are damaged, but I can reroute power to stabilize the warp core temporarily," Ethan said, kneeling to study a panel. His hands moved confidently, connecting wires and adjusting circuits. The woman watched him closely. "I was told your species is resourceful," she said. "I see it is true." Ethan shrugged. "We get by. Not much tech like this back home, so we learned to fix what we have." Hours passed as Ethan worked on the ship. Sparks flew, alarms sounded, and he ducked under panels as power surged unexpectedly. The woman offered quiet guidance, her knowledge of the ship's systems impressive. She didn't need to hover over him or tell him what to do. She trusted him. Finally, the engine's hum shifted to a smooth, steady rhythm. Lights blinked green, and the ship seemed to breathe easier. Ethan wiped his hands on his coverall and looked up. "Should be good now," he said. "But I'd avoid hyperspace jumps for a little while, just until everything settles." The woman nodded, her violet eyes gleaming with appreciation. "You have done more than repair my ship. You have saved me." Ethan felt a warmth he didn't expect. Saving a ship was one thing, but hearing her say it in that calm and elegant way made him feel important. Not for the first time, he wondered if humans were truly underestimated in the galaxy. "I'm glad I could help," he replied. "Really? I mean it." There was a pause. Ethan sensed she was deciding whether to trust him further. Then she spoke, her voice soft but resolute. "I am Queen Lyra." Ethan blinked. He had expected many things in his life, but not this. Queen. As in, the ruler of an entire civilization, and here she was, standing in front of him as if it were no big deal. "You, queen?" Ethan asked, trying to hide his astonishment. "I didn't know you were, royalty." Lyra smiled faintly. "I prefer to travel unnoticed. Many assume my position makes me untouchable, but it often prevents genuine connections. Today I found one." Ethan shook his head, still processing. "Well, I guess it's nice to meet you, Your Majesty. I'm Ethan." She inclined her head. "Ethan, your courage and kindness are rare. You have my respect." As they spoke, alarms on her console beeped softly. A distant fleet was scanning the sector, their sensors picking up the unusual ship. Lyra's expression hardened. "We must leave soon, but I would like your company on the journey." Ethan's mind raced. He wasn't sure if she meant as a guest, a helper, or something else entirely. Sure. I can help with navigation, repairs, whatever you need." She nodded approvingly. "Good. Together we will face what lies ahead." As Ethan prepared the ship for departure, he noticed the hum of its engines felt alive, almost aware of its pilot's skill. The stars outside the viewport stretched and shimmered as they entered the upper atmosphere. Xyler 9's dusty terrain fell away, replaced by the infinite expanse of space. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt small and enormous at the same time. Small, because the galaxy was vast beyond imagining. Enormous, because one simple choice, offering help, had placed him aboard a ship belonging to a ruler of worlds. Lyra studied him quietly from the captain's chair. Few humans dare to act without thought of reward. "You do. That is admirable." Ethan laughed softly. "I guess I never thought about being rewarded. I just help where I can." She tilted her head, studying him like one might study a rare gemstone. "And that, Ethan, is why we will succeed. Your heart is strong. Your mind, sharper than you realize. You may be human, but you carry a strength many aliens never possess." Ethan smiled, feeling a surge of pride and uncertainty. He didn't fully understand her words, but he sensed they were important. Perhaps humans really could make a difference in the galaxy, even among beings with power and wealth beyond imagination. The stars stretched into streaks as they entered faster than light travel. Ethan held the controls steady, feeling the ship vibrate beneath his hands. Lyra's presence beside him was calm, reassuring, yet filled with an unspoken expectation. "What now?" Ethan asked finally. Lyra's violet eyes met his, steady and knowing. "Now we journey to reclaim what has been taken from me, and perhaps we discover what humans are truly capable of." Ethan swallowed hard, excitement and nerves twisting inside him. He had no idea what dangers lay ahead, but he knew one thing. His life had changed forever. One simple choice, to help a stranger in need, had launched him into a universe filled with adventure, mystery, and the unexpected. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan felt ready for it. The stars ahead promised countless possibilities, and the galaxy itself waited to see what a human and an alien queen could achieve together. The ship hummed smoothly as it glided through the empty reaches of space. Ethan's hands rested lightly on the controls, though he wasn't sure whether to relax or stay tense. Every moment felt like walking a tightrope between ordinary and extraordinary. He glanced at Queen Lyra, who remained seated in the captain's chair with calm precision, her violet eyes focused on the holographic display hovering in front of her. "Do you often travel alone?" Ethan asked, curiosity breaking the quiet. Lyra turned her gaze toward him, her expression unreadable. I prefer to observe the galaxy without interference. Most beings expect me to demand, to command, to rule without question. Few realize the cost of such power. Ethan nodded slowly, trying to imagine the weight of being a ruler of worlds. He had dealt with small councils and minor disputes in his own community, but a galactic empire? The thought made his head spin. Does that make it lonely? He asked cautiously. Lyra smiled faintly, a small, almost human gesture, at times. But loneliness is a small price for responsibility. The challenge is finding those you can trust, those who see beyond titles and wealth. Ethan blinked. He felt a strange mix of admiration and humility. Trust was not easy to come by in his line of work either. People often assumed he was only interested in profit, yet he had learned to survive through honesty and skill. As they approached the asteroid belt near the system's edge, alarms chimed softly. Lyra's fingers danced across the console, activating shields and scanning the field. An asteroid belt, Ethan muttered. This is going to be tricky. One wrong move and we could be toast. Lyra raised an eyebrow. Indeed. That is why I require assistance. Your ingenuity is noted. Ethan flushed slightly at the compliment, but focused on the task ahead. The ship shuddered as it passed through the first of many floating rocks, the shields glowing under impact. Ethan adjusted the thrusters, guiding them through the densest parts. Not bad, Lyra said, her voice calm but tinged with amusement. You are steadier than most pilots I have seen. Ethan grinned. Years of hauling scrap across unstable sectors. You learn to expect the unexpected. The asteroid field was narrow, forcing them to navigate in tight corridors. Ethan noticed a panel flicker and quickly tapped a sequence to stabilize it. Lyra watched in silence, her expression unreadable. For a moment, Ethan felt as though she was measuring him, testing whether his courage matched his skill. Finally, they emerged on the other side. Ethan exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. That wasn't so bad. Lyra's gaze softened and she allowed herself a small smile. It is done with precision and care. Good work, Ethan. The ship's interior hummed as systems returned to normal. Ethan leaned back in his chair, finally feeling the tension leave his body. I have to ask, Ethan said, curiosity getting the better of him. Your ship, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Where did you get all this? Lyra's eyes glimmered with a faint amusement. Much of what you see is ancient technology, passed down from generations of my civilization. Some parts are acquired through negotiation, others through opportunity. Ethan's eyes widened slightly. Opportunity? Lyra tilted her head. In the galaxy, wealth is not always about gold or gems. It is knowledge, influence, and the resources one can command. What you see is only a fraction of what I possess, Ethan swallowed. He had helped wealthy traders before, but this was on another scale entirely. The thought of such power could be intimidating, yet Lyra's calm demeanor made it feel less threatening and more inspiring. As they traveled deeper into space, Ethan noticed a concealed hatch in the corner of the cabin. Curiosity got the better of him, and he reached out, lifting it carefully. Behind it lay a vault-like compartment filled with glowing artifacts, crystals, and devices that seemed alive with energy. Lyra's gaze followed him. Those are not for casual observation, she said, her voice steady but not unkind. They are part of my collection. Treasures from across the galaxy. Some hold knowledge. Some hold power. Few understand their true worth. Ethan's hands hovered over the items, careful not to touch. They're amazing, he whispered. I've never seen anything like them. You must be incredibly wealthy. Lyra's expression remained neutral, though her eyes flickered with a hint of acknowledgement. Wealth in this sense is a responsibility. Possessing these does not make one better. How one uses them, that defines value. Ethan nodded, impressed. There was a wisdom in her words that he hadn't expected. Most rulers he had heard about were arrogant, using wealth as a display of power. Lyra seemed different. "I get it," he said quietly. "It's not about having things. It's about what you do with them." Lyra's eyes met his, and for a moment, Ethan felt as though she could see inside his very thoughts. "Exactly, Ethan. And that is why I trust you. Few humans act without expectation. Few humans are genuine in their intent." The conversation lingered in Ethan's mind as they approached their next destination, a remote moon where Lyra's stolen treasure was rumored to be hidden. Intelligence suggested a rival syndicate had claimed it, and recovering it would require precision, courage, and perhaps a little luck. Ethan studied the navigation charts. The moon was surrounded by unstable debris fields, likely left to deter intruders. "This isn't going to be easy," he said. Lyra's expression was calm, but there was a flicker of determination in her eyes. "Nothing worth achieving ever is." The ship descended toward the moon, slipping past jagged rock formations and dodging energy mines. Ethan's hands moved with instinctive precision, rerouting power and adjusting thrusters. Lyra guided him, her voice clear and concise. "Left thruster, now. Shields up. Steady, steady. Good." Finally, the ship landed on a flat plateau near the edge of a canyon. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. The air was thin, and the atmosphere shimmered with the glow of the twin suns reflecting off mineral-rich terrain. Lyra activated a small hovercraft inside the cargo bay. "We must approach carefully. The syndicate is clever and dangerous. But I believe in your skill, Ethan. Together, we can succeed." Ethan took a deep breath. He had faced challenges before, but none like this. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy. They were not equipped with natural defenses or advanced technology like many aliens. Yet, what humans had was ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. And Ethan was about to prove that. As they set off toward the syndicate's base, Lyra glanced at him. "Remember, Ethan, success is not just about strength or firepower. It is about thinking, observing, and acting at the right moment." Ethan nodded, feeling a rush of determination. "I won't let you down." Lyra's eyes softened, a rare gesture of trust. "I know you won't. And that is why I offered you this journey." The moon's surface stretched ahead, filled with jagged rocks, shadowed valleys, and the faint glow of distant structures. Danger awaited, but so did discovery. And for Ethan, this was just the beginning of a journey that would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage he possessed. As they moved closer to the enemy base, Ethan felt a surge of pride, not for himself but for what humans could achieve. In a galaxy dominated by powerful aliens, humans were often underestimated. Yet here he was, standing alongside a queen, ready to face dangers that others might flee from. And he knew, without a doubt, that this was his moment to prove that even the smallest beings could make a difference in the vast, infinite expanse of space. The asteroid belt stretched endlessly before Ethan and Queen Lyra's ship, a chaotic field of jagged rocks and drifting debris. Every moment brought a new threat. Rocks shifting unexpectedly, gravitational anomalies, and remnants of old battles scattered across the void. It was the perfect hiding place for the syndicate that had stolen Lyra's treasure. Ethan adjusted the ship's thrusters, carefully guiding them between enormous floating boulders. "This place is insane," he muttered. "One wrong move, and we're history." Lyra's violet eyes scanned the holographic map. "Precision and patience, those are your allies, Ethan. Strength alone will not carry us through." He nodded. Humans may not have had the strongest armor or the most advanced weaponry, but ingenuity was their true strength, and Ethan was about to use every ounce of it. The first challenge came quickly. A massive rock shifted, crashing toward the ship. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He twisted the controls, firing micro-thrusters to steer around it. Sparks flew as the shields absorbed the impact. Lyra's calm voice guided him. Adjust the port engines. Steady. Now forward. The ship lurched but remained intact. Ethan exhaled sharply. That was close. Lyra's expression remained composed, but there was a hint of approval. You are steady under pressure. That quality is rare, Ethan. They continued deeper into the belt, approaching a cluster of darkened structures, makeshift fortresses built from salvaged asteroids. This was the Syndicate's territory. Sensors detected multiple life forms and automated defenses. Ethan frowned. This is going to be tricky. They've got everything covered: mines, drones, patrols. Lyra's eyes narrowed. We will need subtlety, surprise, and perhaps a bit of luck. The first obstacle was a patrol drone scanning for intruders. Ethan quickly scanned his toolkit and found a small electromagnetic pulse device. With careful precision, he activated it, sending a pulse that temporarily disabled the drone's sensors. It floated harmlessly in space, oblivious to their presence. That was clever, Lyra said, her tone almost amused. Humans think quickly. I see why you were chosen. Ethan shrugged. We have to improvise. Not much of us have huge fleets or weapons. We make do with what we have. They approached a narrow passage between two massive asteroids, which led to the Syndicate's main fortress. Sensors indicated motion inside. Armed guards patrolling, energy barriers activating, and what looked like a high-security vault. Ethan studied the display. If we rush in, we'll be seen. But if we go around, it will take too long and they might move the treasure. Lyra tilted her head thoughtfully. Patience. Observation first. Find the pattern. Hours passed as Ethan and Lyra observed the fortress from a safe distance. The guards moved in predictable loops. The energy barriers cycled on and off, and the vault opened briefly for deliveries. Ethan's mind worked quickly. I think I've got a plan, he said, excitement rising. We wait for the delivery, cycle, use the pulse devices to disable the barriers for a short time, then slip in and grab the treasure. We'll need speed and precision, but I think we can do it. Lyra studied him for a long moment. It is bold, risky, but your mind, it is sharp. We will proceed. Night fell across the asteroid field, though in space, night was just the absence of sunlight. Ethan's heart raced as they maneuvered closer to the fortress. Every sensor beep, every shadow moving across the hull, set his nerves on edge. The moment arrived. Ethan activated the pulse devices in sequence, and the barriers flickered and went dark just long enough for their ship to slip inside. The fortress was silent except for the hum of machinery. Ethan guided them carefully, avoiding patrols and security drones. Inside, the vault gleamed, glowing faintly with the stolen treasure. Crystals, artifacts, and devices pulsed with light, humming as if alive. Ethan felt a thrill. This was what they had come for. But just as he reached the vault, alarms blared. A Syndicate spy hidden among the shadows had noticed their entry. Guards poured into the chamber, weapons raised. Ethan froze for a second, then remembered his human ingenuity. Lyra, cover me, he shouted. She nodded, activating defensive shields around them. Ethan grabbed a handful of pulse grenades and threw them toward the approaching guards. The small bursts disabled the drones and stunned the humans briefly, giving them a chance to slip into the vault. Ethan quickly secured the treasure, ensuring the delicate artifacts were safe. Lyra watched him work, her expression one of admiration. You are clever, Ethan. Humans may be underestimated, but you adapt in ways few others can. Ethan grinned, sweat on his brow. We have to. Otherwise we'd be toast by now. The alarms continued to echo, signaling reinforcements. Ethan and Lyra retreated to the ship, dodging patrols and using narrow tunnels to stay hidden. Ethan adjusted thrusters mid-flight, weaving around obstacles with split-second timing. Lyra directed them with calm efficiency, her knowledge of strategy, blending perfectly with Ethan's improvisation. Finally, they reached open space. Ethan exhaled, his hands trembling slightly from adrenaline. That was intense. Lyra looked at him, her eyes glowing faintly with pride. You have done more than retrieve my treasure. You have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary feats. Ingenuity, courage, adaptability. These are qualities I value highly. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Humans were often underestimated, written off as weak or simple. Yet, here he was saving the day alongside a queen, using nothing but his wits and courage. As they made their escape, sensors detected multiple syndicate ships in pursuit. Ethan's grin returned. Looks like they don't want to give up their prize. Lyra's violet eyes narrowed. Then we will give them a chase they will not forget. Ethan adjusted the ship's engines, pushing them to their limits. The syndicate ships fired energy blasts, but Ethan's quick thinking and Lyra's tactical guidance allowed them to dodge each attack. At one point, he rerouted power to the thrusters in a sudden burst, rocketing past a large asteroid and leaving the pursuers momentarily behind. You are remarkable, Lyra said, her voice calm amidst the chaos. Humans, they survive where others would fail. Ethan laughed, adrenaline pumping through his veins. We survive because we think fast. And sometimes, we get lucky. The asteroid belt stretched behind them as they broke through the field. Ethan guided the ship to a safe orbit near a nearby planet, catching his breath. Lyra deactivated the bow shields and gave him a rare, warm smile. You have earned my trust, Ethan. Not for what you have done, but for who you are. Resourceful, courageous, genuine. These qualities, they matter more than any weapon or wealth. Ethan felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. He was just a salvage pilot used to fixing broken ships and helping whoever needed it. And yet, here he was, recognized by one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Lyra glanced at him thoughtfully. There is more to come, Ethan. Our journey has only begun. The galaxy is vast, and there are challenges that require not just strength but intelligence, courage, and trust. I believe we can face them together. Ethan nodded, feeling a surge of determination. Humans may not be the strongest species in the galaxy, but they had something just as valuable: ingenuity, adaptability, and the will to succeed against the odds. As the stars stretched before them, Ethan realized that his life had changed forever. He had gone from helping a stranger with a broken ship to standing beside a queen, embarking on a mission that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. And deep inside, he felt ready. Ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead. Ready to prove that even humans, small, underestimated, and often overlooked, could leave a mark on the universe. The stars beyond promised adventure, challenge, and discovery. And Ethan Vale, once a simple salvage pilot, now stood at the center of a story that would echo across the galaxy. With Queen Lyra by his side and the stolen treasure safely in their possession, Ethan knew one thing for certain. Humans were capable of more than anyone had ever imagined. The fortress loomed ahead, massive and jagged, a combination of alien architecture and salvaged asteroid materials. Ethan gripped the controls, his mind racing with calculations, strategies, and possible escape routes. The syndicate had been expecting intruders. They had reinforcements, automated defenses, and traps designed to capture or destroy anyone daring enough to enter. Queen Lyra sat beside him, her calm composure contrasting sharply with Ethan's tense energy. Remember, Ethan, she said, strength alone will not carry us through. Observation, timing, and intelligence will. Use your mind as your weapon. Ethan nodded, recalling all the lessons he had learned navigating dangerous sectors, repairing failing systems, and outwitting opportunistic rivals. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, but that underestimation worked to their advantage. They could think in ways others wouldn't expect. The first challenge came almost immediately. Energy barriers flickered along the fortress perimeter, pulsing in rhythm. Sensors detected patrols moving in predictable loops. Ethan studied the display. We can use the barrier cycles, wait for the off sequence, then slip through. Lyra inclined her head. Precisely. Timing is key. Moments later, they made their move. Ethan steered the ship through the first barrier as it powered down briefly, the engines humming softly. Automated turrets scanned the area, but Lyra's insight guided them to blind spots, and Ethan maneuvered with skillful precision. Sparks flew as they passed close to a turret, narrowly avoiding a discharge that could have torn the hull apart. "Good work," Lyra said quietly. "Your instinct saves us." Ethan flushed, but he didn't relax. Every step, every decision mattered. They moved deeper into the fortress, where narrow corridors twisted in impossible angles, and alien technology hummed with latent power. Sensors indicated multiple guards ahead, heavily armed and alert. Ethan grinned. Time to improvise. He pulled a small device from his toolkit, a portable pulse emitter designed to disrupt electronics. Placing it carefully, he activated it just as the guards approached. Lights flickered, weapons jammed, and automated doors locked momentarily. The guards froze, confused and off balance. Lyra moved quickly, activating her shields and clearing a path. "Well done, Ethan. You adapt where others falter." They continued, navigating traps and bypassing security systems. Ethan's hands moved instinctively, rewiring panels, rerouting power, and creating temporary diversions. Lyra provided guidance, her experience and strategy complementing his improvisation perfectly. Finally, they reached the vault. The treasure glowed faintly, pulsing with energy. Ethan's breath caught. He had never seen anything like it. Artifacts that seemed alive, crystals that hummed with power, devices that radiated knowledge and mystery. "This is it," Ethan whispered. "All of it." Lyra's eyes softened. "Yes. But remember, taking it is only part of the challenge. We must also leave without being captured or destroyed." Ethan nodded, carefully securing the artifacts in protective containers. As he worked, alarms blared. A syndicate spy had managed to trigger a secondary security system. Guards poured in from multiple directions. Ethan froze for only a moment before thinking fast. "Lyra, cover me while I create a path." Lyra activated a shield dome around them, deflecting the initial wave of attacks. Ethan grabbed a handful of pulse grenades and tossed them strategically, disabling drones and temporarily stunning the guards. Sparks flew, the air shimmered with energy, and the vault's glow reflected off the walls. "You're brilliant," Lyra said, her voice calm but impressed. "Humans survive because you adapt. You think when others panic." Ethan grinned, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "We have to. Otherwise, we'd be toast by now." The alarms continued to echo, signaling reinforcements. Ethan and Lyra retreated to the ship, weaving through corridors, dodging patrols, and using narrow tunnels to stay hidden. Ethan adjusted the ship's thrusters mid-flight, narrowly avoiding energy blasts and collapsing structures. Lyra provided tactical guidance, predicting enemy movements and pointing out blind spots. Finally, they broke through to open space. Ethan exhaled, shaking with relief and excitement. That was insane. Lyra looked at him, her violet eyes glowing faintly, with admiration. "You have done more than retrieve my treasure. You have proven the potential of humans. Resourceful, courageous, clever, you embody qualities often underestimated by others." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Humans were small, often overlooked, yet capable of extraordinary feats. He had always known it in theory, but now he had proven it, not just to himself but to one of the galaxy's most powerful beings. The fortress alarms faded behind them as they moved into safe orbit. Ethan guided the ship with care, ensuring the cargo remained secure. Lyra studied him silently for a moment before speaking. "You have my respect, Ethan," she said softly. "Not for your strength, not for your status, but for your ingenuity and courage. These are the traits that will shape the galaxy's future." Ethan swallowed, feeling a mixture of pride and disbelief. He was just a salvage pilot, accustomed to fixing broken ships and helping those in need. Yet here he was, standing alongside a queen, navigating danger and making decisions that could alter the course of events in the galaxy. Lyra glanced at the treasure, her gaze distant but thoughtful. "The journey does not end here. Others will seek to challenge us, but with your mind and courage, Ethan, I believe we can face whatever comes. Ethan's heart raced with anticipation. Humans may not have been the strongest species in the galaxy, but their ingenuity, adaptability, and determination could rival anyone. He had just witnessed the proof firsthand. The stars stretched endlessly before them, a vast canvas of opportunity and adventure. Ethan realized that his life had transformed. One act of helping a stranger in need, a simple offer of assistance, had led him to this moment, standing alongside a queen, navigating danger, and shaping events that would echo across the galaxy. Lyra placed a hand on the console, her gaze softening as she regarded him. Ethan, humans are often underestimated. Yet here you stand, proving that courage, cleverness, and the will to act make a difference. The galaxy may one day remember your deeds. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment and purpose he had never known. I just did what I could. It's amazing to be trusted like this. You earned that trust, Lyra replied firmly. Actions matter more than words. You have shown that humans, though seemingly ordinary, possess extraordinary potential. The ship glided through the void, the treasure safely secured. Ethan felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration, knowing that the trials they had faced were only the beginning. He had learned the true value of human ingenuity and courage in the vast, dangerous expanse of space. Lyra's eyes met his again, full of respect and quiet approval. We will face many more challenges, Ethan, and each one will test us further. But I have faith. Together we are stronger than any adversary. Ethan nodded, a surge of determination filling him. Humans may be underestimated, but he knew now that their resourcefulness, bravery, and ingenuity could turn the tide in any battle. With Queen Lyra by his side, he was ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store. As the stars stretched before them, endless and sparkling, Ethan felt the thrill of adventure, the weight of responsibility, and the pride of having proven himself. He was no longer just a salvage pilot. He was part of something larger, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. And deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they had something no other species could replicate: ingenuity, courage, and the will to face impossible odds. And Ethan Vale was living proof. The galaxy awaited, full of danger, discovery, and opportunity. And for the first time, Ethan felt truly ready to meet it. The ship glided smoothly through the void, carrying Ethan and Queen Lyra toward her homeworld. The stars stretched endlessly around them, distant suns casting pale light on the sleek surface of the vessel. Ethan sat at the controls, his hands steady, though his mind was filled with anticipation. After all they had faced, asteroid belts, syndicate fortresses, and countless dangers, they were finally heading home. Lyra remained beside him, calm and composed, her violet eyes reflecting the glow of distant planets. The journey was long, but necessary, she said quietly. You have proven yourself, Ethan, not just with courage, but with intelligence, adaptability, and integrity. Ethan felt a flush of pride. I just did what anyone would do, I guess. I helped where I could. Lyra smiled faintly. Few would face the challenges we did. Fewer still would succeed. The planet below was breathtaking. Its surface shimmered, with turquoise oceans, silver cities, and lush green landscapes stretching to the horizon. Ethan had never seen a world so vibrant, so alive with both technology and nature. Wow, he whispered. It's incredible. Lyra's expression softened. This is my home. Many know of it. Few truly understand it. And now, you will see it, Ethan, as an ally, not just a visitor. Ethan's heart pounded with excitement. He had never imagined that a simple act of helping someone in need could lead him to stand beside a queen, entering a world so magnificent. The ship descended smoothly, guided by Lyra's expert piloting. Ethan assisted where he could, adjusting thrusters and monitoring systems, but it was clear that the journey was in capable hands. The ship touched down on a landing platform in the heart of the capital city. Buildings soared like glass towers, connected by glowing bridges and hovering transit lines. The streets were alive with beings from countless species, moving in harmony, trading, and living their lives under Lyra's careful guidance. Ethan stepped off the ship, feeling the soft hum of energy beneath his feet. His eyes widened as he took in the sights. Technology seamlessly integrated with nature, gardens growing alongside buildings, and crystal structures that glowed softly in the light. Lyra led him toward a grand palace, its walls shimmering with a pearlescent glow. "This is where the council meets, where decisions are made for the well-being of our civilization, and soon you will understand your role within it." Ethan followed, awed by the sheer scale and elegance of everything around him. He had fixed ships, navigated dangerous sectors, and faced impossible odds, but nothing had prepared him for this. Inside the palace, the council awaited. Beings of all shapes and sizes gathered, each one exuding intelligence and authority. Ethan felt a flicker of nervousness. He was just a human, simple, unarmed, and inexperienced in politics or diplomacy. Yet Lyra's presence reassured him. "Council," Lyra announced, her voice clear and commanding. "I present Ethan Vale, a human who has proven courage, intelligence, and ingenuity. He has aided me in reclaiming what was stolen and has shown the potential of his species." Murmurs filled the chamber. Many council members had heard of humans but underestimated them. Seeing Ethan stand there, confident and calm despite the grandeur, challenged their assumptions. One elder stepped forward. "A human? And you have assisted the queen herself?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, I did what I could, and I learned a lot in the process." Lyra's eyes glimmered with pride. He has shown that humans, though often underestimated, possess ingenuity and courage that can rival even the most advanced species. The council members exchanged looks, some skeptical, others intrigued. Ethan realized that his presence here was more than symbolic. He represented not just himself, but humanity, a species often overlooked in galactic affairs. After the formal introductions, Lyra took Ethan aside. "You have done more than aid me. You have bridged a gap between our species. Trust and respect have been established, and now I wish for you to continue by my side." Ethan felt a mix of surprise and gratitude. "You mean, stay? Work with you?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. As an advisor, a partner in missions, and a representative of humanity in matters that concern the galaxy. Your skills, perspective, and courage are invaluable." Ethan took a deep breath considering the offer. It was more than he had ever imagined. A simple act of helping a stranded ship had transformed his life completely. And now he had the opportunity to make a real difference on a galactic scale. I'll do it," he said finally, his voice steady. "I'll help however I can." Lyra smiled, a rare warmth touching her features. "Good. Together, we can face challenges that others cannot, and perhaps show the galaxy what humans are truly capable of." The days that followed were filled with learning, observation, and collaboration. Ethan explored the palace, met with scientists, engineers, and diplomats, and began to understand the intricacies of Lyra's empire. He witnessed technology beyond imagination, strategies that had kept her civilization safe for generations, and the delicate balance of diplomacy that held countless species in harmony. Despite the grandeur and complexity, Ethan's human perspective remained invaluable. He offered solutions that others might overlook, suggested simple but effective improvisations, and showed courage in situations that could have been overwhelming. Lyra noticed every action, every suggestion, and every moment of quick thinking. One evening, as they looked out over the glowing city, Lyra spoke softly. "Ethan, humans are remarkable. You possess qualities many of us lack: creativity, resilience, and the ability to see solutions where others see obstacles. You have reminded me that strength is not always in power or wealth, but in the mind and the heart. Ethan smiled, feeling a mix of pride and humility. I just try to do what's right. I guess it works out better than I think sometimes. Lyra laughed softly, the sound like music to his ears. It works indeed, and it inspires others. Your actions have already begun to change perceptions, not just of humans, but of what cooperation can achieve. Word of their success spread across the galaxy. Traders, explorers, and diplomats began to recognize the value of human ingenuity. For the first time, humans were no longer just minor players. They were respected, admired, and even sought after for their cleverness and courage. Ethan found himself in meetings with leaders from other systems, sharing insights, solving problems, and helping to mediate disputes. Every time he acted, he carried the knowledge that humans, though underestimated, could achieve greatness. And beside him, Queen Lyra supported, guided, and encouraged him, a partnership built on trust and mutual respect. One day, as they walked through the palace gardens, Lyra spoke again. Ethan, the galaxy is vast, full of challenges and opportunities. There will be dangers, rivals, and unknown threats. But together, we can face them. And together, humans and my civilization can accomplish great things. Ethan looked at her, determination shining in his eyes. I'm ready. Whatever comes, I'll face it. And I'll do my best to show what humans can do. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of trust and approval. That is all I ask. And I believe you will exceed even your own expectations. As they gazed out at the stars, Ethan reflected on his journey. A simple act of helping a stranger in need had led to incredible adventures, impossible challenges, and the opportunity to stand beside one of the galaxy's most powerful rulers. He had proven that humans, though small and underestimated, possessed ingenuity, courage, and the will to change the course of events. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of mysteries, opportunities, and challenges yet to be faced. And for the first time, Ethan felt truly ready to meet them. With Queen Lyra by his side and the trust of civilizations behind him, he knew that humans could achieve greatness beyond imagination. The adventure had not ended. It had only begun. But Ethan Vale, once a simple salvage pilot, was no longer ordinary. He was a human capable of extraordinary feats, respected by one of the galaxy's greatest leaders, and ready to face whatever the stars held. And as the twin suns of Lyra's homeworld set, casting golden light across the city, Ethan smiled. The galaxy was vast, and his place in it had only just begun. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were a force to be recognized, and Ethan Vale would ensure that the story of courage, ingenuity, and the human spirit would echo across the stars.